Mufasa the Lion King is Disney's latest attempt at milking even more money out of our beloved animated classics. During the D23 Expo, which was held from August 9th to the 11th, like every year, they announced a bunch of stuff, shared progress on movies and shows that are in development, showed concept art and trailers, and much, much more. And one of these trailers that was shown was for their upcoming film, Mufasa the Lion King, which is set for a theatrical release on December 20th. Now I ended up watching it, and usually, I hate these unimaginative cash grabs Disney pumps out every year with a burning passion akin to... what's the hottest in the universe? The Quasar 3C273? I guess that'll do. But for some reason, I didn't feel as offended this time while watching the trailer. I have been wondering why that is, and after doing some reflecting, I think I'll be able to finally describe how I feel about Mufasa the Lion King. According to multiple sources, the film is set to serve both as a prequel and a sequel to the original movie. Okay, that sounds like it's going to be a confusing narrative. To the 2019 movie, aka the most unimaginative, dull thing to ever exist. Rafiki narrates the story of how Mufasa became king of the Pride Lands to Simba's and Nala's daughter named Kiara. After all, it would be no ordinary child actor stepping into the paw prints of a beloved character. Kiara will be played by the daughter of Beyoncé and Jay-Z, Blue Ivy Carter. Makes sense, I guess, as Beyoncé already voiced Nala in the previous film. And it would be only fitting that her movie counterpart would have a daughter voiced by her own kind as well. Although some could make the argument that this is just another instance of a nepo baby getting special treatment, and only got the job because of her famous parents. Will she redeem herself and prove the critics wrong? Or will she confirm the suspicions that this role is more about her parents than her talent? Do we have to brace ourselves for another potential lackluster performance from someone who is unlucky enough to find themselves in one of these soulless cash grabs? I guess only time will tell. The casting choices and character interpretations within these live-action remakes often draws criticism. This is because of the changes that are made to already established and beloved characters, personalities, or appearances, with almost no regard to the originals. A recast role, whatever the reason is, can clash with fans' love of the original properties, especially if the original voice actor is still in the industry doing work, and the only reason for them being recast is to gain that oh-so-sweet star notoriety.
Growing up, man, I spent hours of my life stomping Koopas.
Don't get me wrong, some celebrities have done remarkable work in bringing certain characters to life, such as Cameron Diaz as Princess Fiona, Mandy Moore as Rapunzel, Steve Carell as Gru, or Elijah Wood as Wirt. But I think a lot of y'all would agree when I say that most of these casting choices are made in order to have a recognizable name to slap onto a movie poster. And it's not just animated properties. Additionally, some of the performances in these live-action adaptations may feel more dull or lackluster, especially if there is already a movie out there to compare it to. People tend to not resonate as strongly with these remakes as they do with their animated counterparts. That being said, I don't want to beat on literal children too much. I just hope Blue Ivy does a good job as Kiara, and that she at least has fun while doing so. Well, if I would have had any say in the matter, I would have given the role to Northwest. But how did we get this far? For that to be answered, we have to go back to 2019.
What we do here is go back.
A period that some would call a simpler time. Others may even go as far as to call it the last good run we had before everything turned to crap. Before global pandemics, NFTs, and the rise of AI, where people's main concern was how a movie where Will Smith gets turned into a pigeon can have a higher audience score than the sequel to the biggest grossing animated film of all time. At least back then it was. First off, let's go over what I consider the main reasons for why these movies are garbage. A lot of you would agree that one of the main key reasons why Disney's live-action remakes don't work is simply because they lack originality. They often copy not only plotlines, but whole sections of dialogue from their animated counterparts, without adding significant new content or perspectives. In the worst cases, this leads to a dull, shot-for-shot remake of the OG movies. For instance, the story and dialogue in The Lion King from 2019 are nearly identical to the 1994 original. Nothing new or innovative to find here. This of course brings up a question. If a perfectly fine version exists already, why remake it? This more often than not makes these films feel redundant and unnecessary. Various live-action remakes are inevitably compared to their animated originals, often unfavorably that is. The original animated films set a high standard in terms of storytelling, music, and general quality. And when remakes fall short in any of these areas, they are often harshly judged. And we are right to do so. Many of these animated films are deeply beloved by fans who grew up with them, and any changes or perceived shortcomings in the remakes may feel like a personal insult to fans. Nostalgia sure is a powerful force, and the high expectations set to the original films create a nearly unreachable benchmark for the remakes to adhere to. When these expectations inevitably can't be met, because, let's be honest, the original movies are considered classics for a reason, it usually leads to a significant disappointment and backlash from movie fans. But I also feel that if these remakes would change enough from the original films, or dare I even say, tell an original story for once, the backlash would be a lot less significant. But then again, what do I know? Okay, but why exactly has Disney been bombarding us with these horrendous abominations for over a decade now? Well, I'm afraid the answer is simple.
Hello, I like money.
It doesn't take a genius to piece together that these remakes are driven more by financial gain than any artistic merit. Disney's decision to remake its animated classics can be seen as a strategy to capitalize on the nostalgia of their older audiences, while simultaneously introducing these stories to new generations, prioritizing profit over creative storytelling. Because of its blatant greed displayed by Disney, and because they are not really trying to hide their intentions, a lot of us have grown to hate these films. But despite these criticisms, Disney's live-action remakes will keep on coming. Just take a look at CGI Stitch! Isn't he adorable? After seeing this thing, I feel like I'll need to give my doctor a call and ask him to increase the dosage of my medication, for real.
Money!
Because despite the hate these movies get, they have also somehow found significant success at the box office, indicating that they do actually have an audience. Who's watching these? And yes, of course this means that they do make a crap ton of money. If you take a look at the highest grossing Disney movies, a significant amount of them are live-action remakes. And although us fans hold their favorite beloved animated movies to high standards, like I said, nostalgia is a strong weapon. While the remakes may not always satisfy longtime fans, I'm afraid to say they will continue to play a significant role in Disney's film strategy for a long time to come. Just because although you may not go out and see these films, enough other people will. The animated originals often have a unique charm and emotional depth that the live-action photorealistic counterparts struggle to replicate. Animation allows for a more exaggerated and expressive portrayal of characters, which is used to enhance the emotional connection to the audience. You can just see the love, effort, and care that went into each and every frame of these films. In contrast, take the photorealistic approach The Lion King 2019 uses. Because they wanted the film to feel like a nature documentary, the characters have been cursed with extremely limited facial expressions.
Bruh.
Although one could argue that real lions actually do display a wide range of gestures. However, the look the movie went with actually makes it harder for people to connect emotionally. I can't say which emotion these characters are trying to bring across. Are they happy, sad, surprised, or angry? Their body language doesn't help either. It's just a mess. I feel nothing but distaste when looking at these lifeless creatures. Now if you have watched this video up to this point, I think I made at least one point extremely clear. I generally hate Disney's live-action remakes. However, while watching the new trailer for the Mufasa movie, I realized something. I don't despise this as much as I expected to when clicking on this video. But why was that? How can I sit on a fence at night and keep on shouting out my distaste for Disney's live-action remakes from the top of my lungs, like I was one of those snails from that one SpongeBob episode, while simultaneously giving this movie a pass? And then it hit me. Mufasa the Lion King is not exactly a live-action remake. The film focuses on a story not based on any of the 3 original Lion King movies, but instead, the prequel will aim to explore the backstory of Mufasa, Simba's father. Now, in my opinion, one thing this film has going for it is that the director of the first movie, Jon Favreau, will not be directing the prequel. Instead, Barry Jenkins will take over the role. As an avid watcher of Adam, aka Your Movie Sucks, and his Lion King editing highlights, I gotta say, I was not a fan of Jon Favreau's, let's say, creative vision for The Lion King 2019.
It honestly looks beautiful. According to Jon Favreau, you can't have beautiful skies in a movie because it's not realistic enough. I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating or strawmanning, but this is actually what he believes.
I like to keep the skies very simple because you have to get very lucky to have a beautiful sky when you're really photographing. CG artists are tempted to make the skies beautiful, because why not? But I find when I watch a movie with a lot of beautiful skies one after the other, I'm like, that's too lucky for real photography.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, John, but there are live-action films that have beautiful skies in them. I was able to film some beautiful skies just by dicking around with my camera filming my music video. The visuals in the original film were based off of a research trip that they took to Africa.
There's such a variety of landscape. The mountains, the rainstorms that come over.
And while I'm at it, you should check out Your Movie Sucks breakdown of The Lion King 2019, where he tears this piece of garbage a new one in so much detail and style that you will feel like a real professional movie critic after watching it, I promise. Barry Jenkins, on the other hand, has made a handful of critically acclaimed movies, and I'm interested to see how Mufasa will turn out under his lead, and how it will be different from the previous film. Now, the first movie did not only remake the animated one almost shot for shot, but it also gave us brand new renditions of beloved songs, although they removed some and only included them begrudgingly after fan outrage, at least allegedly. Since Mufasa won't be based on any existing movie, of course it needs to have a bunch of new music. And who's going to be responsible for the new soundtrack? Why, none other than Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's right, Mr. Scuttlebutt himself is gonna do the music for the prequel. Now, I have talked about Lin-Manuel Miranda on this channel before, and to keep it short, he is annoying to many people due to his omnipresence in many soundtracks in the past couple of years. His music can be very hit or miss, and while he has written some questionable stuff in the past for sure, I do think he is a very talented guy nonetheless. For example, I really liked his Warriors concept album that he released a while ago. Make sure to give it a listen if you like rap and or musicals. But what does that mean for Mufasa? Well, Lin's involvement in the soundtrack brings both excitement and potential concern. Yes, he can write great stuff, like his exceptional work on Hamilton, Moana or Encanto, but there's also the risk that his distinctive style might not align with the established musical tone of the Lion King universe. Well, I'm willing to give Lin a chance, especially since he does not have the direct pressure of adding new songs to an already established soundtrack, such as in the remake for The Little Mermaid, for example, but rather write an entirely new one, which is something he usually does a lot better. All we can do is wait and see if his inclusion will ultimately enhance or detract from the story of Mufasa. At first glance, Mufasa appears to continue the photorealistic animation style of the 2019 remake, that being promising a visually stunning experience, while ultimately ending up looking lifeless and uncanny instead. I feel like the prequel ends up striking the balance between realism and stylized animation a lot better than its predecessor. The hyper-realistic approach has been replaced with emoting characters. Let me show you what I mean. Look, you can actually tell what the characters are thinking by looking at their faces. That's something at least. The improved animation was the main reason for my willingness to give the Mufasa movie a chance, and why I wanted to make this video in the first place. Another bonus is that the movie is a so-called journey film, meaning that Mufasa will travel to places beyond the Pride Lands, showing, quote, lands that highlight the diversity of Africa. This actually sounds kinda cool, as the sets from the 2019 movie felt really dull and colorless. There's even gonna be snow! If you don't know, there are actually places in Africa that have snow, especially places that are located in higher altitudes. For me, the visual direction is definitely a huge step in the right direction, especially when compared to its predecessor. Exploring the early life of Mufasa could be an interesting chance to enrich the Lion King narrative, but with that, there's also the risk of diluting the original's impact. Introducing new characters and deeper lore could provide fascinating insights if done right. Personally, I'm very interested in learning more about how the hierarchy of alliance works and how things led up to the start of the first movie. Something obviously put a huge rift between Mufasa and Scar in the past, but we never got a real answer to why Scar hates his brother so much. Sure, he says that because of Simba's birth, he would fall behind in order of heir to the throne, but that sure would not have come as a surprise for Scar. He would have known that Mufasa would have a child sooner or later. That being said, there's still a lot that was left unsaid about the relationship between the two brothers. But leaving no question unanswered may not always be a good thing. Exploring Mufasa and Scar's past could complicate the beloved story of the Lion King unnecessarily. When it comes to Media's lore, having that little bit of mystery a story offers left unanswered may actually benefit the narrative. You know, keeping it whimsical is just a bit more fun. Including an ambiguous angle in a story encourages fan theories, heightens engagement with the corresponding property, and ultimately keeps the mystery alive, so to say. Despite the skepticism, Mufasa might leave the tiniest room for me to go into this film with at least a cautious optimism. I mean, the potential for delivering a compelling and visually superior film when compared to the first one is there. Then again, the bar is on the savannah floor for this one. Best case scenario, Mufasa will be a prequel that not only honors the legacy of the original, but also carves out its own place in the Disney Movie Hall of Fame. But that's very unlikely to happen given the studio's track record with these kinds of productions. Now, people who have any interest in the Lion King franchise have most likely already known that Mufasa will not be the first attempt by Disney to shed some light on Scar's backstory. When it comes to Scar's, or as he was formerly known, Taka's past, it tells a tale of sibling rivalry, jealousy, and the quest for power. There are two main canons that can be differentiated. Scar's early years, as depicted in the picture book A Tale of Two Brothers, as well as the show The Lion Guard. Both attempt to give a deeper insight into the siblings' past and their dynamics, and shine a light on what eventually led to the events of the first movie. Let's start with the book as it came first. In A Tale of Two Brothers, written by Alex Simmons and published the same year as the original movie, 1994, young Taka and Mufasa are depicted as siblings with contrasting personalities and destinies. Mufasa, the elder brother, is prepared from a young age to be the future king of the Pride Lands. He's portrayed as noble, strong, and responsible, embodying the qualities expected of a leader. Taka, on the other hand, is shown to be intelligent and ambitious, but also harbors feelings of jealousy and inadequacy due to the constant comparison with his brother. One significant event in their childhood is when Ahadi, their father and current king of the Pride Lands, chooses Mufasa over Taka as the heir to the throne. This decision, though based on Mufasa's qualities, deeply wounds Taka, planting seeds of resentment and bitterness in the young lion. Taka's feelings of being overshadowed and overlooked contribute significantly to his later transformation into the Scar we all know. In this version, he gets his scar by being attacked by buffaloes before ultimately being saved by Mufasa, after a plan of his to sabotage his brother went wrong.
I'm joking! Stop! 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 Stop the brake! Stop!
The Lion Guard is an animated series that first debuted in 2016. It focuses on Kion, the second child of Simba and Nala, and the younger brother of Kiara. Now, in the Lion Guard, a second-born heir to the throne is gifted with a power called the Roar of the Elders, which is a really loud and powerful roar that basically works like a strong energy blast. Additionally, the second-born child also gets access to the following. According to the Lion Guard wiki, quote, while the firstborn cub of the monarch is destined to become the next ruler of the Pride Lands, the second-born cub is tasked with leading the Lion Guard, a group dedicated to preserving the kingdom and defending the circle of life. So throughout the show, Kion and his friends keep the peace within the Pride Lands, help the other animals, and learn valuable lessons along the way. Because of the lore of the show, that being that the second-born heir to the throne gets access to the Roar of the Elders and is the leader of the Lion Guard, this means that Scar at some point must have been the bearer of this power. Like I said, the Roar of the Elders is extremely powerful and could be used for evil when in the wrong hands. Pause, of course. In this series, it is revealed through a flashback that Taka was once a leader of the Lion Guard, but lost his power due to him misusing them. So this one lion tried to convince Taka that only the most powerful should become king. He was intrigued by the idea, but the lion betrayed him and let his snake friend bite Taka. That is how we got his scar in the show. Taka ultimately defeats the evil lion, but instead of being praised for saving the Pride Lands, Mufasa belittles him and gives him the nickname Scar, leaving him even more resentful and humiliated. This is when he decides to get rid of his brother. He's ultimately consumed by his lust for power and uses the roar of the elders for destruction and to make others fear him. Because of that, the roar is taken away from him. This event marks the end of his transformation from Taka to Scar, a name symbolizing his physical and emotional wounds. And the Lion Guard delivers all of his exposition in song form. Scar really is the ultimate closeted theater kid, performing a dramatic show act even when he's nothing more than a fiery apparition. He really puts the pride in Pride Lands.
He's gay, but he has a special connection to classical music. There's many things that are interesting about him.
As you can see, the lore is kinda messy. The book says Taka got his scar from a buffalo, while the Lion Guard states that he got it from a snake. While there are overlaps, and there is clearly some kind of official canon, such as Scar being named Taka before turning into the character from the first movie, or how his scar can be seen as a symbol for the turning point for his character, there is no true adaptation. Each team of writers adds their own spin to the lion's past, and now there's going to be a third version of Scar's backstory. The backstory of Taka and Mufasa is a compelling narrative of sibling rivalry and the tragic consequences of envy and unfulfilled ambition. Their early years, as detailed in The Lion Guard and A Tale of Two Brothers, can provide a richer context to the characters and the dramatic events that led up to the first movie, The Lion King. Exploring Taka's backstory can surely answer some questions fans have had for 30 years now. But like I said, removing the mystery also bears the risk of making the lore more dull and uninteresting. While every iteration of Taka's transformation into Scar is sure to be filled with moments of misfortune and poor choices, and don't get me wrong, I love me some angst. I am just scared to blindly trust Disney's ability to tell a story that will do the Lion King universe justice. When it comes to the Mufasa movie, Barry Jenkins revealed that the film exists in a parallel timeline, following both a young Mufasa and Taka in the past, as well as Simba's daughter Kiara in the present day. While potentially being confusing, this implies that Mufasa is taking cues from the original animated direct-to-video sequel, The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride, as well as the already existing lore of the Lion King canon. According to Jenkins, there is some stuff from the canon that is very much referenced or alluded to, but it's its own thing. While I won't be going out of my way to see this movie once it comes out, I do think the choices made are a step in the right direction. After listening to what the people making the movie are saying, and going off of what I've seen in the trailers already, I doubt that this movie will be given the careful storytelling and artistic execution necessary to make it into a worthy addition to the Lion King saga. But I'd love to be proven wrong. I am willing to give this film a chance. All we can do is wait and see what comes of Mufasa. Like Scar once said, be prepared, I guess. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome videos on everything animated. Until next time, bye!